So today we're going to be continuing to take a look at the alternate future of the United States. In the last episode, the Junta Alliance fell, there were some more coups, the Western US states rejoined the Union, and the US declared war on the Dallas Pact and the Miami Alliance. This is the final episode where we will deal with the United States themselves, and the second to last episode in the series. This is going to be a long war scenario, so let's just get right into it. So, pretty much immediately, the US moves in to annihilate Indiana. They are no match for the US military, even in this state, even if it's just the eastern half. And so they surrender pretty much immediately. But here comes Texas, both to avenge both to avenge their allies' death and to take out Florida. To which they successfully capture Mississippi. Encircling hundreds of square miles of land. Kansas and Nebraska get into it. Each launching their own spearheads into each other. As Colorado is invaded, from pretty much all sides. Colorado has taken a defensive position, and since Florida's busy holding their own front line, Georgia is quickly captured. But Texas, Kansas, and the United States are moving into Missouri. Wrong side. So now Missouri has fallen. Meanwhile, Texas moves in to capture Alabama. Florida cannot handle fighting Texas and the U.S. at the same time. They are getting their butt kicked. And now the Florida mainland is being cut off. No amount of Florida men could have prepared for this absolute beatdown. This tag team by the U.S. and Texas. Florida, however, will not surrender. They're going to hold out until they have nothing left. Eventually, Florida does surrender. The Miami Pact is in shambles. As now California, Nevada, Utah, uh, I mean, Arizona forces moving on all sides to take out Utah, leading to the eventual surrender of the Mormons. Wyoming surrenders to the Dallas Pact after pulling all their troops out of Colorado. Wrong color. The U.S. is now pushing into Nebraska, pushing back Kansas troops, and set up a defensive wall along the border of Wyoming and Dakota. They pull their troops out of Kansas and surrender to the Union. But not before a large chunk of Colorado is captured. The Dallas Pact is now pushing directly toward Dakota, hoping to cut off Nebraska, while Colorado troops in Nebraska push through Iowa and western Missouri and Kansas to link up there with the East. Capturing a bunch of land. Dakota does the smart thing and surrenders. This is where the real fun begins. As the last three members of the Miami Alliance are invaded from all sides, including Michigan finally successfully capturing the Upper Peninsula. And the Miami Pact just surrenders. They're the first alliance to be defeated in this war. Let's look at the map so far. The Miami Pact is gone. Florida has surrendered. The Dallas Pact consists solely of Alaska, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, New Mexico, and the Lone Star Empire. And this is supposed to be Kansas. And now that the combined might of the entire US military is fighting basically one front, that Texan spearhead is gone, forcing the Dallas Pact to retreat from Colorado. These three states are completely surrounded. They might as well make peace with their god now. By the way, this takes several months, if not years, into 2032. Wyoming eventually surrenders. Idaho and Montana are cut off from the Canadian border. Not like that would help. Now the invasion really ramps up. There are some soldiers left behind. Yeah, there are some troops left behind to just hold a defensive front line against Texas as Idaho and Montana make the right call and surrender. Oh, you thought Alaska was off the hook? All landings made in this panhandle. They capture the capital, and somewhere around here's Anchorage. Eventually, Alaska surrenders. So, now let's look at the map so far. It is just Texas and New Mexico, and what's left of Kansas. They are screwed. So now, Kansas and Missouri can be cut off and captured. Some land is taken that was captured by Texas. New Mexico is being cut off from the Mexican border. As more American troops flood the border that they have. And eventually, New Mexico too surrenders. Now Texas is done. All of these states have been ramping up their military for years at this point, ready for a big war. And Texas has just run out of troops. Back home, the war is incredibly unpopular, so Texas bites the bullet and surrenders to the Union. So now let's look at the state map when all is said and done. So this is what the United States looks like now. And don't worry, they are still a NATO member. First of all, Oklahoma was given Texas's panhandle, Alabama and Georgia were given Florida's panhandle, and nothing about the other states actually changed. It all looks the same as before. So now we go into the 2032 presidential election. It is between incumbent President Newsom and former Texas Senator Ted Cruz. So in blue are all the states that are safe or likely to vote incumbent President Newsom. And in red are the safe and likely states to vote for Ted Cruz. It is 226 to 217 so far. I didn't include that weird little district thing Maine and Nebraska have. Anyway, Nevada flips blue. Georgia and North Carolina turn red. Wisconsin and wrong blue. Wisconsin and Michigan need 268 electoral votes to win. And it's between Pennsylvania and Arizona to possibly decide the election. Newsom's in a position to win even if they lose Pennsylvania by just getting Arizona. And in a shocking upset, Pennsylvania flips blue. What did you think I was going to do? And then Arizona flips red. And incumbent President Newsom wins the 2032 election. And nobody starts a civil war over it. How about that? And if Ted Cruz had won, it would also not lead to a civil war. Look at that. And on January 20th, 2033, incumbent President Gavin Newsom is re-inaugurated. The District of Columbia, referring to the federally owned parts of Douglas, do not count toward the vote. And no incidents happen since. For now. Thank you all so much for watching this series. We have one episode left. And in the next video, we're going to be looking at the rest of the world. Peace.